I've wasted stupid money on boots that spent more time in the closet than on my feet. Now, these are the boots that you should not buy, or at the very least, do your research before you hit that buy it now button. Welcome, friends, I'm Carl Murawski. Now, just in front of me, I have a whole bunch of boots that are very different. I mean, they're all about 10 inches tall, but that's almost the only thing that they all share in common. And these are all boots that, in one way or another, I regret buying. The first boots that you may regret buying are double and triple midsole boots just for the look. Now, if you don't really understand what I'm talking about, double and triple midsole boots are designed to provide a more stable base when you're working on ladders. That makes for a boot that is hell to break in. And if you're gonna wear these things casually, number one, they're heavier, but number two, they feel like ski boots for most of their life. I mean, we're not talking about a week or a month of break-in, we're talking years. And I'm really not gonna be, spending years trying to break in a pair of boots with double or triple midsoles just because I like the way they look. That doesn't sound like a good time to me.
You're gonna have a bad time.
But some people do this. I've seen this before, enough so that I thought it should be the first thing that I mentioned here. Mistake number two would be jumping to a taller shaft boot when you're not used to it. So these right here, these are the White's smoke jumpers. Great boot, beautifully made and stuff. These are in a 10-inch tall height. Now, for a long time, I wore 6-inch boots, and those were great. But my most worn boots recently are these right here. These are some Russell Moccasin Zephyrs, and they're about 10 inches tall. But I'm used to these now. Would I want them as the first boot that I get out of the gate, especially after sneakers? Heck no. That's extra leather and stuff that's against your leg. So if you're jumping up to a taller boot, I mean, try them first if you can, because some people don't like that at all. They like the more sneaker-like feel of a 6-inch boot, which comes up to just above your ankle. Number three regrettable purchase would be getting a pair of very expensive engineer boots as your first engineer boots. A lot of people will tell you, buy once, cry once, and I certainly subscribe to that motto, but there's a certain amount of heel slip that happens when you wear an engineer boot that you're just never gonna get rid of. It's part of the laceless thing. They're a little bit sloppier feeling on the inside because they have to allow movement for your foot to get through and into the boot. So you have to be ready for an overall looser fitting boot, whereas some of these other laced boots, especially like a lace to toe or a semi-lace to toe like this Wesco here, you can lace all the way down and really adjust that tension perfectly for your needs. But one thing you shouldn't avoid is exercise. And I've talked about this many times before, but keeping your body in good condition is the best thing you can do to ensure that you're gonna have a long career in the trades or whatever you're doing, especially if it's physical work. You gotta keep this in good shape. But the problem has always been that cardio is just flat out boring. So when I'm on the treadmill, I'm sitting there and I'm trying to watch a movie or something on my iPad. This is different though. So this is the Averon rower, and the cool thing is that they've gamified the experience. So there's a few little games on here, especially the fishing one. That's the one that I like a lot. Now, the other thing that's cool is if rowing isn't your thing, well, Averon also has a gamified treadmill and a gamified bike. The rower pairs with my Apple Watch so I can track my workouts on that. And it's just a nice smooth motion, low impact. As you get older like me and you start to feel it in your knees, a nice smooth exercise is a welcome addition. I mean, you get up to 100 pounds of resistance on this thing, so if you want to ratchet it up and really start pulling and getting a sweat going and working those arms, that back and the legs and all that stuff, you can do that. I've really enjoyed working with Averon on this sponsorship because this is a lot of fun. That's the number one thing with it. I look forward to coming out here and getting a workout in because it's fun, it's enjoyable. And that's something I haven't really experienced before. So I think you'll dig it too. And if you do, click the link below and go check them out, show them some love. And let's get back to the video. Thank you so much to Averon for sponsoring this video. It's because of companies like that I can keep these coming to you. So the next boot you may regret is getting a wild pattern or exotic leather or crazy color when you don't have your basics covered, okay? Now everybody kind of needs a good brown or black boot. I don't care if you have one or the other, but at least one of those to wear every single day before you jump into something really wild. Now this right here isn't exactly a regret. These are from Wolverine. I think they're kind of neat. They have this sort of cowboy style to them. They're still a work boot, but this wouldn't be the ones that I would want to wear all the time. Now look, I like cool leathers and stuff like that just as much as the next guy. Matter of fact, check these out. They're like a greenish blue with this tan orangey tongue on them. I mean, they're pretty wild looking and they're great to wear, but I wouldn't want these as my daily drivers. For the things I'm gonna wear every single day, I want something that's a little bit more versatile. The next boot you shouldn't buy is a cemented boot when you want to have it for a long, long time. Now you can have cemented boots for a while, but the fact is that there's really nothing recraftable about them. You can theoretically have a new sole cemented onto the bottom of this thing, but that sort of removes the whole point. Now this is actually one boot of a pair, obviously, of Carhartt boots. Now Carhartt makes a lot of great things, boots aren't one of them, but I have these anyway for a specific use case. Because cemented construction boots are lighter, they tend to be waterproof easier because they're cemented, there's no perforations or holes in your boot. And for that, for a sneaker-like boot, they're not too bad. But if you want a boot that you're gonna have forever and re-sole and really invest a good amount of money in it and have it for decades, this isn't it. The next boot you may regret buying is a boot that you buy and then leave in the closet or store somewhere for years. PU insoles and midsoles and generally synthetic compounds break down over time. Now, if you've ever had a boot that's been around for a long time, and then you go to take it out and you go like that, and it cracks down the middle here, you know what I'm talking about. And so if I put these Westcos, right, these are Westco Jobmasters, semi-lace to toe, if I put these Westcos aside for several years, I may come out and realize that the sole here broke or whatever, or maybe cracked, it just crumbled because it's dried out. I can have that easily replaced and have these things do another decade of service without a problem. The next boots you're gonna regret buying are waterproof boots with a sock liner in them as your daily drivers, especially when you're not often coming in contact with water. You know, when you look at the box, you see it says waterproof on it, you think, oh, that's good, so in case I get in some water, I won't have to worry about it. The thing is, what you're giving up by having that waterproof sock liner inside of your boot is breathability, the fact that they don't dry out nearly as fast as regular boots. And if you're gonna wear them all day, every single day, your feet are gonna be a lot hotter and they're gonna sweat more. Unless you're putting them on a boot dryer religiously every single night, you're inviting all kinds of things like mold, mildew, foot problems, stuff like that. That's something that they don't tell you, and a lot of people just think, well, I have sweaty feet. No, you probably just have the improper boots. The next boots you shouldn't buy are boots with an outsole that doesn't match your conditions. Now, most of the time when I'm working outside, I'm working on floors like this. These are definitely my sole of choice when I'm doing indoor work on concrete. Now, the look of a boot like this is way cooler. They look like having mudder tires on your truck or something, right? They're super aggressive. But wearing these on a flat, hard surface doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You don't need that traction. Now, these are just some pitfalls. I certainly don't want to dissuade you from buying some great high quality boots from a well-known maker. It's one of the pleasures of life, honestly. But it pays to do your research, to know what your conditions are, to know what your feet are like. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this video. Thank you to Averon for sponsoring this video, and I'll catch you next time.